everybody, it's Shadows coming at you with another video, and today's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be one of those videos, so this is going to be kind of piggybacking off my last video about the Age of the Primes reveals, but this is definitely going to be a passionate one. So let's just get right into it. Just a disclaimer, I'm not going through absolutely all of the reveals. I'm going to include a little bit of a picture of each. You'll see what I mean here in a second. This is mainly just a video for 3 figures that I'm actually interested in, potentially 4. Those are the ones I really want to talk about, and without further ado, let's go. Starting off, what we are going to be discussing today are the new round of Age of the Primes reveals. There's a bunch. Just going quickly, you can see on the bottom of this image, from left to right, you have Mega Zarak. No idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's basically just a repaint of Armada Megatron. We have the Herald of Unicron, which is interesting. Then we have Vector Prime, and boy, do I have something to say about him. We have Swindle, which, okay, cool. I'm gonna be getting him. I'm actually trying to do Bruticus. I need to track down Brawl and Onslaught, and then obviously Swindle. We have, I don't even remember that name. I'll put it up on the screen. We have Tailgate. We have a Point Blank release, but I think they're calling him Blanker now. So I don't know if they lost the licensing for the name. Strange, okay. And then we have Fangry, which I never had any interest in any version of him, so I really do not care. We also had a few other, I think it was the Target line, The More Than Meets the Eye, which they have the Studio Series 86 Starscream as a Target exclusive. Hasbro, you absolute assholes. I think it's hilarious though, because I know all the G1ers are gonna freak the fuck out, but at the same time, like, I do want to get those Seekers because I just think they're the better figures. I don't really care for the design. Like, I don't need G1 Toon, all that crap, but I also think they're just better figures than the Earthrise, me personally. I just think it's hilarious that Hasbro released Thundercracker first, then Skywarp, and they're making Starscream the one arguably everybody's gonna get, because, you know, regardless where you are on the Seekers, usually you just get Starscream. I mean, a lot of people do get Thundercracker and Skywarp, but let's be real, if you can only get one, you're gonna get Starscream, because he's the number 2, right? And I just think it's hilarious that Hasbro did that. And then you had another, I think it was Prowl, which we've seen 10 million of. And then the Insecticon 3-pack, which don't really care for the G1 Insecticons. If they were Transformers Prime or FOC, maybe. But as G1, no. The Insecticons were kind of trash. But anyways, moving on from that, we're just going to get right into the reveals I want to talk about. So we're going to start off Mega Zarak. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but he is just essentially a repaint of Armada Megatron. I like that mold, so I do not mind buying it a 3rd time, as I have Megatron and Galvatron. And the main reason I say that is because I do have both the original Armada Megatron and Galvatron. I would love to get the BotCon repaint that this figure is inspired of, but that also costs so much money, and I just don't see any need to do that. I do have the Fans Hobby version of Armada Megatron, Galvatron, and their Mega Zarak, which I think, don't quote me, but I believe it was a Chosen Prime exclusive. I know Fans Hobby has been partnering with the Chosen Prime, and they had that going on. I'm like, I like the mold. It's an exclusive. I think there was only 500 to 1,000 made. So I'm like, screw it, I'll get it. And I think it was a very high number. I think I was 400 something. So anyways, that's why I'm going to get this figure. There's really nothing to write home about, honestly. I mean, it's just Armada Megatron in different colors, and I do hope, though, they don't glue the horns in like they did on the Galvatron release, and I do hope DNA actually do their kit in this color scheme, which I'm willing to bet they will, because it's just a simple repaint, because that kit was so good. I did screw up my Galvatron, which I'm gonna have to look for another Galvatron, but of course I missed the Ross window, and now they're all expensive, so fuck me. Anyways, now this next figure I have opinions on. This really bugs me. This is the Herald of Unicron, which is a repaint, remold of the Age of the Primes Megatronus, the Fallen. This figure, man, I mean, good attempt, but he definitely suffers the Legacy Vector Prime issue. So if you can see here in his bot mode, this is supposed to be just like a generic soldier of Unicron. It looks like Unicron. I think it takes inspiration from, I believe, the Marvel comics. But what really has me wanting to pick this figure up reluctantly, I might add, is the fact it also drew inspiration from Armada / Cybertron Unicron, mainly Cybertron Unicron, that toy. And I never owned that figure, unfortunately. I would love to add it to my collection, but you can see definitely on the shoulders it's Armada Unicron and also Cybertron, Megatron, Galvatron. You know, little hint there. Overall, it looks okay, not amazing, but here's where I have problems, right? He still has the staff that Megatronus had, except in part of it, he does not have the, I guess people were calling it the spark extractor. It's just the stick and doesn't have the end on it, but also includes the machete. He has 2 blasters, which you can see on the half of the Requiem blaster, and that's another thing that really irks me, because it's like, okay, you're just releasing parts of previous molds, and it's like, okay, if you don't have those guns attached, even with the guns attached, it doesn't look the greatest, and it's just incomplete, and it looks like it was thrown together, right? Also have the main thing, and this is totally Vector Prime syndrome. You see the hip skirts. You have the posts for them, but they don't have any hip skirts. That just looks incredibly cheap. How hard would it be to include skirt pieces? You already have the mold. Why? It can't cost that much to include 2 tiny little square pieces. You don't even have to detail them if you don't want to, or paint them. Just include them, because that just looks ugly. And I just can't, man. So honestly, this is one of those figures where I would actually display in alt mode, because as you can see, the alt mode is supposed to invoke that Cybertron figure Unicron, and it looks good. I think I like this more than Megatronus personally, but still, it's just, if you add the Requiem blaster, it just doesn't look complete. And it's really strange to me that they did this. Honestly, I'm sure this figure will get probably a steep discount, because I honestly don't see a lot of people getting this. And I know a lot of people are screaming, they're like, oh, Liege Maximo would have been the perfect mold for this. And it's like, yeah. Personally, I think the Liege Maximo mold is kind of mid, personally, but yeah, I definitely see it. I think it would be definitely better as like a Transformers Prime universe Unicron, because I mean, that's just almost perfect, honestly. But anyways, yeah, this is definitely not going to be a day 1 pickup. If I see it out in the wild, sure, but I'll honestly be hoping for a discount, but at the same time, who knows anymore. But there he is. But next up is the Transformers Armada Universe Power Links Red Alert, which ever since they announced, I think it was the Legacy Power Links Hotshot, I knew they were gonna do a Red Alert. They did a Nemesis Prime of Armada, Optimus, and I mean, they just had to do Red Alert, because they also did Starscream, and then obviously Galvatron. Honestly, I know a lot of people were hating on the Red Alert mold. Only a matter of time, but what I did not expect was this is a pack. So it's going to be the Voyager class figure with 8 minicons. Like, that's crazy. Once I saw it, I think it was last week when the leak actually came out, and it was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be Power Links Red Alert with 8 minicons. I'm like, oh man, we're gonna get all the minicons for all of the Armada releases so far, and maybe even the Skyboom Shield, because we got the Star Saber with Nemesis Prime, and then we're getting the Requiem Blaster with Jetfire. So I'm like, oh, it makes sense he would get the Skyboom Shield. Fortunately, that's not what happened. That's gonna lead me into the next little rumor. They did, as of this recording, and this is June 10th, 2026, there have been rumors / I think it was officially confirmed that we're getting Armada, Cyclonus, and Demolisher, which, I mean, are the last 2 Decepticons we really need, unless you count Thrust. I'm willing to bet it might be a 2-pack with the Skyboom Shield, and maybe they're minicons if they do it. I don't know. But that's the only way I see we're getting the Skyboom Shield, unless they include it with Thrust, which, if they do, we'll see. Here we have the box art, and it is basically invoking the scene where they all get their Power Links forms, which is kind of funny that they include the minicons from the original versions, not the Power Links versions, which it makes sense kind of, but at the same time it's like, okay, you'll have one figure with the minicon, one without. But yeah, love the box art. Nice homage to the Armada episode. I think it's a pretty good, lineup, and this is being sold for $80 or $90, but if you look at it in terms of Voyager prices now, you're looking at like $45, plus essentially just smaller than core class, but 8 other additional figures. I think the value's okay. I think it's way better than Sentinel, just having a $35 disc, but that's just me. Just Red Alert and all the minicons in their alt modes, so you can see how all of them work out. These are going to the original versions of the figures. These are not the Power Links versions, except, not including the Dark Star Saber. Like, all of these are going to go to their pre-Power Links versions. So, Sparkplug, Optimus, obviously. Swindle, you see he's red, so he's going to go with the original Armada Starscream, not the Power Links version, because once he Power Links, Swindle became blue. Power Links Hotshot, Jolt was orange, red. That goes with the original Armada Hotshot. When he Power Links, Jolt became yellow. And the same thing with the rest. Leader 1, he's that blue and tan, or gray rather. That goes with Megatron, not Galvatron. And, vice, all, etc., etc. So, and I don't think Wheeljack's ever Power Links, but if you got I think it was the Shattered Glass Sideswipe, then he did come with a repaint of Hawk. So, I mean, if you want to count that as a Power Links version, go for it, but Wheeljack never officially got a Power Links version. But anyways, now we're going into the figure I really want to discuss. And man, if you guys remember in my last video when we got the Conduit of the Primes and we got that little teaser of Vector Prime's sword, and it really didn't look like the Legacy version, which, now that I look back at it, if it's not the exact same, it's stupidly similar, right? But then we got the Age of the Primes Vector Prime, and right away, he's just a fucking repaint of the Legacy Vector Prime, which I despise that figure. It's kind of been growing on me. I did just order the DNA kit for him today off TF Safari, so I think once I have the upgrade kit installed on him, he'll be better, but just the mold degradation on my copy at least, trash. His legs are just noodles, and it's awful. So I'll show you a picture of my figure here in a little bit, but this is basically an homage to that Vector Prime I showed you in the last video. It was the Galaxy Force repaint of Cybertron Vector Prime, which looked cool. I do definitely dig the color scheme. I think it's more in keeping with the TF1 color scheme. I think it looks... Here's the thing. The color scheme, I think, works, right? The figure, the mold, is the goddamn G-Axis mold. And I did not like that mold. And I think it definitely, Vector Prime looks better, but it's still just, again, like I brought up, I think in the last video, Vector Prime is the only Prime that did not get his own mold in Age of the Primes. This really pisses me off, man, because even still, they kept those ugly ass clips on the legs, and it's just like, why? Like, that just, everybody complained about it on the original Vector Prime, yet you still chose not to fix it, and you're charging, like, I think it's 10-15 bucks more on the same damn figure that you released a few years ago. Like, it makes no goddamn sense to me. I know it's typical Hasbro, but, like, it just... I'm telling you what, though, unfortunately, I am a completionist, and I do want all the 13 Primes, and I do want this guy to be a part of the 13, mainly because the sword has his Prime symbol on it, the Cybertron version doesn't, so I am going to be getting this guy. I'm going to be very reluctant about it, but I just, it really bugs me that, you know, a lot of people, if not everybody, had an issue with it, and then you just still chose not to fix it. That's unacceptable to me. But again, you know, still got the G-Axis legs, but here's the alt mode. Again, I think this color scheme works better than the Cybertron color scheme does on this mold. If it was the original figure, I think the original Vector Prime Cybertron worked better, but this one on the G-Axis mold, I think looks better, but still, it's just, goddamn. Like, why? I will say the Cyber Key looks fantastic compared to the other one, because the other one wasn't even painted. Here's the back of the box, is what I want to really go over. And just going back to that conduit of the Primes, I don't know, man, I'm zooming in on the sword, and it looks like it's kind of changed. It's still the same sword. Just by going off of this, it looks like it's a solid piece now. It's not two pieces, which, if that's the case, cool, because there was really no reason the other one had to fold. But still, it's just like, it's the same thing, just instead of two pieces, it's one, which, yes, is technically an improvement, but that's what you were concerned about, not the ugly ass empty clips on the legs. Like, that's just insane to me. But what do I know, right? I really hope DNA does a kit for this guy. I was expecting at least a new mold, right? And, you know, if I misread that, cool, whatever, I'm wrong. Vector Prime's the only Prime that did not get his own mold, and that really bugs me. Like, come on, it's just stupid. But I don't know, man. I think, personally, Vector Prime is one of the coolest Primes, just because in Cybertron, even if he was an old man, dude is the ruler of time, essentially. Like, and especially his sacrifice, man, that shit kills me to this day. You have me either, like, jumping up, like, yeah, or in fucking tears, because, you know, Vector Prime is just like, ugh. I don't know, man. I just think it's really a shame that Vector Prime got shafted so hard. Like, even he got shafted harder than Nexus Prime did. And that's saying something. Because Nexus should have been the goddamn Titan, not Star Optimus. But just some pictures of my original Legacy Prime, Vector Prime. This is the most dynamic pose I could get him in without him just collapsing under his own weight, which this is not even a heavy figure. Right? Just the legs on this guy, the G-Axis mold in general, the legs suck. Like, the bottom of the, like, calves don't tab in anywhere. If they do, I just have not seen it. I've watched so many reviews, I looked at the instructions, could not find it. He needed his own mold. Starscream got his own mold. Like, the head sculpt looks great. I'm happy that he has the Cyber Key. I hate that it has to clip in to his chest and not, like, actually slot in on his crotch, like the original. Again, I ordered the DNA kit. I think that's the only way to make this figure decent. It sucks to be an official Transformers collector right now. At this point, it's honestly not too much of a jump to just go into third party or KOs. That's where you're gonna get the best bang for your buck. It's not official anymore. I know that's a super hot take. Take that as you will. And then again, all the other reveals, like we had the Kiss Players blaster. I think it was just one of the tapes that was referencing Kiss Players, which crazy to think we're getting official Kiss Player figures in 2026. That's wild. And then the stupid, dude, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive figure, an Optimus Prime cereal box with Jazz, and they're just G1 Legacy figure. It looks like, dude, like, why? That is so stupid. We could have gotten anything else, but we gotta do that dumb shit. But anyways, I'm sorry, this was definitely more of a negative video. If that's something that just doesn't vibe with you, I do apologize, but I also want to be truthful. I'm not gonna sit here and glaze. I'm not gonna sit here and hate on it just to hate on it. I'm giving my pure, unfiltered opinions, and I hope you guys can understand. I just want to be authentic with that. And if you agree with me, awesome. If you disagree with me, awesome. Tell me why. Respectfully, of course, don't go civil war in the comments, but, I do want to genuinely know other people's opinions. Like, if you hate it like I do, why do you hate it? Is there something I'm missing? If you are, thinking these are the best figures Hasbro has ever released, tell me why. I'm curious to know. We'll see what else happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like, comment, subscribe, really helps me out. And until next time, guys, drink and destroy.